Hello, hello. Thank you for being here, and especially if you're new as well, please do consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and of course share as well. Right, so there's a lot going on, isn't there, at the moment? And I know, both from working with people in individual sessions and group sessions as well, that many of us are feeling a heaviness. And that's understandable, completely understandable. We see it, as I said, it within ourselves as individuals and feel that, but also we see that playing out as a collective in the world. Now, the fact that for many months, even beyond years, they have been talking about this, about the energies that are playing out now, it doesn't necessarily make it any easier when it starts, does it? And when we're actually living through it. So first of all, I wanted to acknowledge that. But they were talking this time in their messages very much about the polarity that we're seeing. And they said, you know, everything, of course, is about learning. It's about learning. It's about learning who we are really. They are always lessons of love. And what we see unfolding around us is showing us what we are and what we are not. That we are beings of love. So, you know, they said, love flows beyond borders. It flows across and through nations. It is not concerned with those kinds of illusions. The illusions of borders, the illusions of nations. It flows to the entire human race and all life forms on this planet and elsewhere. And as we are all one, we are all, each of us, an essential part of the whole. So when and they repeated this message several times, when we understand that we are one and that what we do to others, we do to ourselves, then the lesson will be complete and the healing will occur. This is the purpose. This is why. Many times human beings ask why. This is why. And right now, it's really in our faces, so to speak. It's there to be seen. It's there to be experienced. And it's there, ultimately, to be understood and to be acknowledged. They said this learning is an essential part of all healing and growth, the awareness, the acknowledgement, the acceptance of the lesson, of the truth. It cannot be avoided, it cannot be denied, and it cannot be ignored. It is the foundational step of the healing process. If we try to deny, to ignore, to avoid, it will continue to play out. And usually, the next time those energies play out, they play out on a bigger, grander, louder scale. So, actually, I'm just going to turn my notebook round because they added something at this point. And they said on the oneness, although you understand that from quantum physics and various studies that energy particles affect one another from one locale to another at great distances. The systems put in place in your societies and your planet over the last decades illustrate this oneness more tangibly for you. you are experiencing that when something happens in one part of the world, it affects all of you. And that on an energy level, excuse me, dropped my pen, on an energy level, you all feel it. So they said, once the lesson and the truth is understood and accepted, the energies that are driving these experiences are able to be cleared and dissolved, which in turn makes room for new energies to flourish and henceforth create a new reality born of the truth, born of love and the understanding that we are one, and what happens to one happens to us all. The alternative, they said, is to stay locked in polarity, separation, black and white, right and wrong, self, other, and energies of trauma will result and will just play out on repeat. Or, as we have said, understand and allow that truth of oneness and that we are love, to open our hearts. And it was interesting that when they were talking about the very tangible ways in which, our economy, our technologies, even our food production, our energies, and I mean fuel and so on, the way we produce energy, even though now we understand that all of that sort of illustrates this oneness to us in a much more tangible way, what it also does is open our hearts. Because when we have experienced emotion as a result of what is happening somewhere else on the planet, even though it's not directly happening to us now, we feel that. That is opening our hearts. Now, they then said in that heart opening, we're invited to observe ourselves and question ourselves, question our views, our values, our actions and responses, our prejudices, our judgments. What do we stand for? Very akin to the question of who are we? What are we and what are we not? So what do we stand for? Do we stand for division, isolation, polarization? Okay. Or do we stand for oneness, togetherness, inclusiveness, willingness to empathize, recognize and respect the truths and experiences of each of us as we are all working towards this understanding and this healing collectively? And they said one side is the truth and the other is an illusion. Okay. The truth, of course, that we are all divine love, and one can become the bedrock of a new future as we create a different reality based on that. Now, it was interesting as yesterday I was listening to a good friend of mine, Skylar, and she was giving a talk about her personal journey, which was very good. And she said something in there. She said, out of chaos comes change. And it's all about our response to the trauma that chaos brings. So we alone are responsible for our response and for our contribution to the collective response. So we can stay paralysed by panic, fear, pain, victimhood, blame, and so on. Or we can use it as fuel to move us forward into growth. Understanding first, acceptance, and then healing and clearing those energies. So I just thought I'd mention that because after they'd given the messages, I was driving and I suddenly recalled, what she'd said, out of chaos comes change. But of course, it's up to us. It's up to us to how we use what is going on around us and our experiences and what we do with that. So, but I thought it was lovely, and they did say it several times. What we are aiming for is to understand first and then embody the truth that we are one, and what we do to another, we do to ourselves. And if we can do that work, everything will change. Everything will change. So of course we do that on an individual basis, don't we? And then we also contribute that to the collective. Good. Now, I asked about what the light language codes were going to be about this time, and they want to do some really deep grounding, and they also want to do some clearing of fear, particularly fear in our lower chakras, but also within our heart. Okay, and they said the reason for this is that for the heart to be open and to bring in these energies of empathy and understanding and compassion, the fear needs to dissolve. Okay, all right. So, right, as always, you don't need to do anything. Just set your intention to receive, all right? You can listen to these as many times as you like. That's fine. They'll always find the right place to work for you in your energetic field and whatever it is that you need at that moment. Okay, get started. Ele ke ana sakakiara oya sakakiana yakikiara sakakiara sakakuyoro uyoro uyara akakiara. Esakakiara a oyoro osoko iare aya sakakiara ara. Esake ia sakukuyana sakakiara sa a ara. Esiora a era a. Ekiara e oyara aya. Ra e royo roya roya ara a. E kiasa ayara ayasara. E oyaso uyora ayasa ara ayasa a. Ya so oyara ayana ara. E hosu uyoro. Hoise ayara ayara sa ayara. Uyoro oyase ayara. Ese yara. Ene sera ene soyara ene sera ayara se ene se era so era ya ele sera ele sera ayara ele sera sa ele sera sa ele sera sa yara sa ele sera yara ele sera yara Shia seara se que ya sokuyo no sokuyoro yasa. Ishia la seara shia la ya teara. Ele sea que yana se shia teara. Ele sea teara atayarara. Ete yara se ara yasa. Ete yara ya ne ala sea. Inyo suyoro asia yasa. Ay ala yasi yara ay yasi oyoro. Ele ne sea yasa. Ele yasa ne yara. Ele suya tiaria se le tiaria. Ele suya tiaria se tiaria seara. Ele suya tiaria se te seriara. Ele tuya seara ya teatria seriatara. Ele suya letera ele atria seatria. Ele suya letera asiatria searia. Ele suya letera asiatria seara. Seatoyara. Inya seara la seatiaria. Yento yo soy a teara, ese a teatra, este a teatra, el ese a teatria, ese a Lovely. Oh, gosh, that felt quite powerful. I've been working quite a lot today, so I've sort of been feeling the energies build up during the day. Right, okay, so just want to say that, you know, wherever we are in the world, to remember that we are all one, and extend love. Bring in that divine love, extend it out to others, because, gosh, we need it, don't we? We do. We are it. We always have it. It's always ours and accessible to us. But it's a beautiful thing when we can bring that into ourselves and then extend it out to others. Yeah. All right, so take care and see you next time. Bye.